Hey everybody, it's Sunday and I am, of course, at my usual watering hole working away. And you can see I actually got some work done on Victoria here, and with her hair. I didn't really touch her face yet. Got the scarf colored in. Probably going to work on the scarf today. And then of course we got the buttons on her blouse. So, but we working away at her. So, and of course, we've got issues with the nib again, as always. But it's when this happens, I just work through it. Many times, I will just, because you can take a look, it's still working. It's putting down the very fine dots by flipping the nib upside down. So I don't see the point of just swapping out a nib yet when I'm liking the fact that I'm getting some very fine grays on her. So, but let's flip her upside down. So I'll be working in this area here. What I'll probably do is I'm going to work on this part of her scarf here, the knot, and then work in here with that. So yesterday's video, I got a comment by Aldous on the farm. He is a regular on the Jeremy's channel, which is Comic Talk Live. He's very complimentary of the video and the content of it, basically calling out John Malin with what he's doing, and how he's basically saying, hey, if you're going to boycott Bud, then you better be boycotting Kickstarter. And like I said, John really got strict on how he was presenting the information. I went as far as to say he was dictating. And there is with a business, okay, and that's what all these creators are. They are all independent businessmen. Okay, they're independent businesses supporting each other. Okay, they help promote each other. So, and they interact with each other. They are on each other's shows to help provide content and to help promote each other. But they're still independent businesses, which means the decisions that each creator makes on his own is his choice. And with the Indiegogo doing the shadow banning, these creators have to be they can't limit themselves to one platform. And last night on Comic Talk Live, they were addressing it. In fact, right when the show started, Aldous from the farm, he actually did a shout out how I did a very good video, how he felt that my video on this subject was very good, and I thank him for it. So Aldous, I am formally thanking you for your very kind words and support of the content of the video. Now, we didn't talk about it on the chat last night because we were on a hiatus. It was a planned hiatus. We had announced that in the weeks prior to the show, to this weekend. So it was well known that we were not going to be streaming. I am very certain that if we had gone on the show, if we had streamed last night, this would have been a topic. Okay? And I'm sure I would have been extremely vocal then, as I was yesterday. And I'm sure that there were others on the show who would have disagreed with me, which is good. It's good to have intellectual debate on a subject. Okay? The bottom line comes down to is it's up to each creator's choice, and it's up to each backer's choice for them to decide when and how they back a creator. We have to acknowledge the fact that when it comes to crowdfunding and crowdfunding comics, that Kickstarter is the Walmart. They are the number one crowdfunding site. They are the site that gets the most eyeballs. So it is foolish that you're going to leave money on the table by not considering them. And there are creators that are now looking at going back to and utilizing Kickstarter on top of Indiegogo, because you have to rely on various forms of crowdfunding and various forms of promotion, which means you can't stick to the same old. And if you're going to have a lot more walk-through traffic or flip-through traffic with Kickstarter, then you will go there. And it's up to, I'm being completely honest, okay? I don't normally back on Kickstarter, okay? I don't like how Kickstarter does it, where they first, you back it and then they hold off quite a while, period of time before they actually pull the funds from your account. And then after they pull the funds from your account, when it's time to fulfill, they will send you another bill, which is the shipping bill. And I don't care for that. I want to just up front, if it's $25 for the book and $10 shipping, I want to pay that $35 and be done with it. And I won't hear, and basically it's up to the creator to provide updates and to provide me with a shipping number when it gets put in the mail. And then I don't have to worry about any extra hidden fees, which do occur with Kickstarter. But as I said yesterday, if there's a book that's only going to be funded on Kickstarter because that creator that's the site that they prefer, they don't see the point of going to other sites, that's their choice to make. It's not, okay? Perfect example. Flask Publications has announced that, I think it's the 2nd of May, if I am correct, they are launching a new Kickstarter campaign for a new Art Adams book. Now, Art Adams has a long history with John Flask, and they've done quite well. And he's basically, the impression I'm getting is that this new book is going to contain new content on top of existing content, along with they're going to have a new cover. Well, Flask only does Kickstarter. So if I want this book, I am going to be going over to Kickstarter to back it. So that's a choice I need to make. Do I want to buy it now through Kickstarter, or do I want to pay a higher price when I see him at Baltimore? Because John Flask almost always has a table at Baltimore. And I can see it being a very popular book this year because Art Adams is scheduled to appear at Baltimore. So if he has the book published and available for purchase in Baltimore, I can see the book going very quickly. So it makes sense that I want to make certain I get that book for Art to sign. I will need to go to Kickstarter to get it. That's a choice I need to make. I am not going to berate John for deciding only to do Kickstarter and not doing any other platform, because if he's having success there, there's no reason for him to go anywhere else. So again, and you can't, as a creator, dictate to others like, you have to buy this book but not this book, and put them down. Okay? Negativity does not win the day. Positivity wins the day. Keep in mind, that's one of the reasons why I am such a supporter of crowdfunding comics, and specifically Comicsgate, is because it deals in more, the content in general is positive. Okay, when I say that, I'm referring to the professionals, and I'm referring to the new show Creative Block with Irene, Phil, Narwhal, and Jack. Okay, these guys are creating positive content that is comic book centric. Okay, both professionals and Creative Block is a comic book centric show that deals in the positivities of what they're doing and I enjoy those shows, and I find them to be much more entertaining than the other shows that are in rotation that are more degeneracy, borderline binge drinking, and putting others down. I don't care for that. At first, I was kind of like for starters, like, let's take the Jack show. Never got into the Jack show. And when the Ballers started, if there was nothing else on, I might consider it, but lots of times I rarely ever was like, oh, I gotta watch this show, this is so great. No, it's more one of those where it's like, the Ballers, if anything, became a staticky radio show, a staticky radio drama that you had on in the background, basically to occupy a little portion of your brain while you're doing something else. Sometimes they would have good stuff, but by and large, I was never really entertained by what they do. But the other two shows I mentioned, the Professionals, I enjoy the Professionals. I enjoy the content. I enjoy the approach. And like I said, it is a very comic book centric show. One of my favorite shows. And actually this goes into, like, Aaron Lopresti did a show with Sequential Treasures last night. They do a show at the end of each month, the last Saturday of each month. And they pick a topic. And this week's topic, or this month's topic, was annuals. And in it, they addressed, and we're talking about coloring. And how do you, when you color something, try to over-render it and over-blend it, or do flat colors? Is it just enough? And when we were looking at the older stuff, you didn't need to have this stuff over-rendered with computer coloring. And by and large, I have always been the advocate of just do flats. Just do computer flats with as minimal blending as possible. Let the line work. Let the line work be the star. And I find that too many times these days, the colorist, because you gotta keep in mind, when coloring used to be how it was transparent, and you couldn't erase the black line or cover the black line. Now with computer coloring they can, and I think some of these computer colorists are a little too big for their britches, and they are just completely marring the beautiful line work with their colors. And I hold the editors responsible for allowing that to happen. I personally I just went flats. And even Aaron Lopresti was even saying how, like, since flats still to this day still do such a great in the comic book medium do a better job than computer coloring. Just do it himself. And I applaud him for actually wanting to go that far. If he's having issues with getting a colorist, then Aaron, do it yourself. And there's a lot of artists that will tell you. I remember PTP. He was once saying, like, one of the things that Joe Kubert had told him, how always try to do as much of the work yourself, because that's less work that you have to pay out to someone else. And he's right. The more work you can do yourself, the better it is, especially when you're doing your own work, because you have the control and you then have the choice of doing however you want to do it. Now, if you don't know how to, or you just say, like, for instance, if you have a person who doesn't have a good color eye, then maybe they do need to get themselves a colorist. But if that's the case, they have to be very selective with their colors. For instance, if I was to go out and find a colorist, I'd want to find an old school color. So I don't need to, they would have to be able to know how to do things by computer, but I'd still want a artist that has a good color sense, that they know or in a certain panel for that emotional reaction, don't draw the eyes blue and the face with regular flesh tones. Make the whole thing yellow with maybe a few orange highlights to get that sense of emotion coming from that character. That's one of the things what made the cheap printing process. Remember, censorship is good. Bad printing process is good because it forces the creators, how do you solve that problem? How do I work around that problem? And these days, because it's so easy with the computer process and the high quality printing, they're like, oh, we can do it. We can just do it lifelike. We can do this computer coloring. So even though it's been drawn like a cartoon, we can add lifelike coloring to it. And no. There still has to be that creative control and working yourself around an obstacle pushes you creatively, and that's what I don't see a lot of. I don't see a lot of people being pushed creatively, and then when I say that, I mean in like the mainstream, not in what I'm backing in Comicsgate. So, but no, obstacles are good. So, if you are a creator, don't look at an obstacle as a roadblock to stop you. Look at it as, okay, this is a roadblock. How do I work around that roadblock to succeed? So, hey, I'm going to keep this video short today, but hey, remember, life is full of roadblocks, life is difficult, life is stressful. Just take it all one dot at a time.